Hey guys, welcome back to this channel. Hope you have a wonderful day. My name is Ronnie and I'll be your host as always. In today's video, I'm going to talk about property insurance. Is it worth having or not? So if you guys are new to this channel, I talk about a lot of things when it comes to personal finance, property investing, micro investing, eBay side hustle, and all other things in order for you to achieve financial freedom outside of 9 to 5. If you like this type of content, by all means, subscribe, comment, and share. That would be muchly appreciated. So, in today's video, I'm going to talk about property insurance. Is it worth having? So, at the time that this is being recorded, apparently Sydney has been experiencing a lot of rain in the past week. Due to that, there's a lot of floods happening across the state. So, this is the reason why you should have insurance on your property for whatever reason. There are different type of insurance out there. The main one that I actually use would be property insurance. The one that I use, if it's rented property, it will be landlord insurance, building insurance, and content insurance. If you can get those three at the very bare minimum, that would be a good idea. Sometimes I feel like insurance is such a waste of money, but when bad things happen like what Sydney experiencing at the moment, it's a good idea to have them. Like you're not probably going to use this, high possibility you won't, but in case of emergency you break that glass, the insurance, that's what we're using it for. So from my own little experience as well, when I was in the beginning of my property investing, I bought a property, I was renting it out, and we had, I think it's like 2 or 3 different tenants. On the third tenant, we decided to sell the property, and there was a buyer. Now, because the tenant was just living there in a short period of time, they weren't really happy the fact that they have to move again. So, out of courtesy, I actually provide them, the expenditure for the tenant to move out. I'm willing to pay the expenditure for that, as well as the bond to move to another property as a goodwill gesture. Because it would be a pain. I mean, I'm sure it would be. I've done a couple of moves throughout my life, and it's not fun to have to move from one property to another one again and again, and it can be a lot more stressful. And I think because of that, I had to tell them to move in a short period of time, while the property is actually being, through the solicitor, the time frame between purchasing and settlement and whatnot, they decided to burn my property. Now, I cannot actually point the finger at somebody, but I could probably show it was them, because never had that experience in my life before. They might be a little bit bitter and decided to burn my property down. Now, I can't point the finger at them because I had no proof that it was them. There's no camera around the property, and yeah, that wasn't fun. Now, this is the reason why you have insurance when this happened. So I made a claim on my insurance company after the investigation, as well as filing the police report and whatnot. It wasn't deliberately lit because the property was burned from the inside in a certain location where there's no fire supposed to be happening. So I understand it might be like if it's in the kitchen area, because there's a fire, I guess, in a fiery area. You've got your stove right there, but this particular fire happened on a bedroom and near the bathroom. So how does that work? It's on a deliberate fire. So now if I don't have insurance, the worst nightmare will come in. The worst nightmare would be I have to rebuild it with my own two hands, with coming out of my own pocket. That could be really costly. I'm not quite sure, but anyone out there, if you are a builder, that's good. I'm sure you would know how much would it cost in order to rebuild a property from the ground up. But for me, at worst case scenario, I have to rebuild the whole entire place, and it's possibly be very costly exercise, up to the hundreds of thousands. And what we're experiencing at the moment in Sydney anyway, we have a lot of rain in the past week, just non-stop constant rain over and over again. And I can see in a few in the news so far anyway, in the media, that there has been a lot of floods in certain area of Sydney. If you have insurance, then you won't be as worried. But if you don't have insurance, that could be very devastating situation that you're in. So one thing that I don't skip would be that is one thing you do not skip, having insurance. Now the basic insurance on the property that I use anyway would be landlord, building, if you're living in your own property, possibly be content, but at the very least is the building, in case if flood happen, in case if someone burn your house down, happen to you. It might not happen to you now, but if you have multiple investment property, if you don't have a tenant living in your property, so that means you still have to pay the mortgage. Now what would happen if you have to rebuild the whole entire property for about a year or two? And not only that, what if you still have mortgage repayment? Not only you have to rebuild it yourself out of your own pocket, you still also pay the mortgage as you go along. That wouldn't be as fun idea. It won't be as fun for anyone in order for them to do that. So having insurance is a must. Property insurance is a must, at the very minimum. If you're living in a apartment, let's say, by all means have a content insurance at the very minimum. We had one other property that we own. It was leaking from the inside of from the walls because of the rain. Now, if we didn't have any content insurance, the carpet, we have to replace that. The furniture, we have to replace that. And all of the bells and whistles that comes with water damage, it's not fun. But because we had insurance again, the policy kicked in and they were able to replace all of the floor as well as whatever damage that happened. So yeah, so that so far is 2 in the space of, multiple, I think 2 in the past 10 years that we actually have that. That's only coming from my small portfolio. Can you imagine if you have more and more, and if you don't have that cover in the beginning, it will be devastating in a sense. It would rip you apart financially, because if you don't have any money to repair it, you still have the mortgage repayment, you gotta sell it, and you probably end up selling it at a loss. And when you're selling it at a loss, you have this bitter feeling with the fact that you lost a lot of money investing on property. Now, property can be fun. Property can be, it's a double-edged sword. I realize that. If you do it correctly, if you follow the principle of the property investing, yes, it can generate a good cash flow, generate a great income for you. But if you don't follow the steps, or if you skip a certain area of the property, it will cost you lots and lots of money, not only in a weekly or monthly basis, but over the time. Let's say if you're getting a flood now, and then a few years later you get another flood, and a few years later you get another flood, and you didn't learn from it, it will be financially draining for you. And I experienced that after the first one. Never again. I didn't want that headache ever again happen to me. And since then on, every time there's a natural disaster happen, I gotta make sure to check on my policy that I'm covered for all of these things. It might not happen to you today, but there's a possibility it might happen to you in the future. Insurance is a must. Anyway, that's my 2 cents, guys. Don't forget to subscribe, comment. See you guys in the next video.